For your consideration on any podcast player, search Solid Verbal, find us, and hit follow or subscribe. It's just that easy.
Welcome to the Solid Verbal. The Solid Verbal. And now, Dan and Ty.
Dan Rubenstein, welcome back. We are doing this a day later than usual, but we've got something special in the works, do we not?
Yes, we do. I'm not going to sandbag. I'm not going to put myself down. I'm very proud of what I have accomplished in building out this extremely late April show. We're doing a game show. I don't know if I have a locked-in title. Maybe we can decide on that. I wanted to go pun. You suggested a category using a pun, using the name of a game show. My working title is Jeopardy D Westbrook. You can go a lot of... That's pretty good, right? I wanted to go full Berman with, and I looked at different game shows and could I do Family Corso Feud, right? That using, that's a little bit clunkier. You could go D4, D-liner. There's been some Ds in college football, obviously. But yeah, we're going game show, college football game show. I've got category names. I've got the levels of competition, and I've got gameplay locked in. I've got questions locked in. You're the contestant. I'm the host. We've done this before with guest contestants. Andy Staples are most notable, but he's in Green Bay right now because the first round of the NFL draft is in, a few hours here now as we record this. So this is a fun way to go about having about an hour's worth of MP3 audio in late April, and I will totally understand. And this is a good opportunity, Ty. If this does not sound like something you're looking to participate in or enjoy on your road trip, or you're at the gym, or you're doing your dishes, or going for a walk in some lovely spring weather, this is just a great time to stop the episode. I just wanted to give that disclaimer. This is going to a weird college football place.
We just wanted to get the download. We got the download if you were hearing this background track. Yeah. Thank you for your patronage. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, yes. Any news you want to get to before we get into the nonsense?
I saw Steve Angeli. Steve Angeli is signed with Syracuse. I don't know if Syracuse is ready for Angeli, but we can bring that joke out of retirement. That'll be fun this fall, provided he gets playing time. I assume he will. I did see that the Rose Bowl is going to be moving its kick time up. There was a lot of chatter online about, it's going to ruin the sunset.
Later in the game now.
Be a little bit later in the game now, yeah.
Over
so
the beautiful San Gabriels, yeah.
That is correct. So that's going to be good, which personally on the East Coast is great because them going an hour earlier means the Sugar Bowl does not have to end at 1 a.m.
So this will be the middle game on the triple header.
I believe so, yes.
To bring up the Sugar Bowl a little bit. I don't know what the first game is, but yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer, but as I've moved time zones, I just look to see what time the Rose Bowl is on in my current time zone, and I watch it then. So, yeah, you like the shifting from clear, warm afternoon in Pasadena into crisp Southern California night with the the beautiful colors with the sunset. That's always one of the more iconic visuals in this sport. I saw Dabo said something about a Super League that sooner rather than later.
Sooner than later, Dabo talking about the Super League.
Yeah.
Let's not bring down the mood by talking
Let's not bring down
Super
the mood.
League.
This is what else we have, Ty. We've got, I think, both in terms of, you said we talked about triple headers. We got a double header of, I think the Oregon spring game is going to be preceded by the Lafayette spring game, if you've been paying attention. So, two iconic programs making for some great programming, counter programming to the NFL draft, I guess, if you're interested this weekend. Yeah, but as we get into spring games, as we get into the altered recruiting calendar, it looks like we're going to have big commitments in the next month or so. Some big schools looking to land some big fish, so that's exciting. Hopefully that, keeps you sated over the summer months as hopefully your team is killing it on the trail.
Yeah, I mean, we have reached that stage in the offseason where I've seen a little bit of an uptick in the numbers. People are starting to kind of come out of their winter hibernation. The weather is nicer. Perhaps people are out and about a little bit more. They need to entertain themselves either in the car or when they're going for a jog in the park.
Yeah.
And so on top of the fact that we've got spring football, that we've got the draft, which I think is, as I've said, this weird point of overlap between college and pro. We do have some of these recruiting things to talk about, as you said, over the next few months. There is news. There's also this, I won't get into the legalese of the House settlement being kind of put on pause for a minute because of one quirk that a judge found in the proposed agreement. There are things in the college football ether that I definitely think will pique interest. And really from this point forward, things do start to roll a little bit more downhill, and people start popping their heads out of their respective holes saying, oh, college football.
More game shows.
College football. How far now? How long until
I partially blame Jason Benetti for this, for discussing game shows and how much we're such huge fans. And he's texting me all the time, the weird YouTube videos he's finding as he travels as the voice of the Detroit Tigers during the spring and summer months. So I partially blame him for me being inspired. But we've done stuff like this in the past. You've done RPGs. We did a couple years ago now. We did Sark Tank.
We did Sark. We got to do Sark Tank again.
We can do Sark Tank again. That was in it was summer of 2023. I want to say we did that.
Yeah. It might have been last year, but either way, we've done Sark Tank at least once before with Andy.
Right. So we do like doing these games and these exercises in the warm summer months before we get into preview season and as things tend to pick up then. Once again, Ty, this is a great opportunity I'm going to call it audio cilantro, Ty. For some people, cilantro is a delicious herb that adds value to tacos and Mexican food and Asian food everywhere. To other people, it tastes like dish soap, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So
it's a genetic thing. If you take one of those ancestry DNA tests, they give you a readout on your
the cilantro factor
tolerance of cilantro. Yeah.
How are you with cilantro?
Story. Apparently, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I genuinely don't like it, but it's got nothing to do with my DNA. Look, if you made it this far, hit follow, hit subscribe. We will do our best, I guess, to make this as entertaining as possible. Dan's got a little game show concept here. Verballers.com, VERBALLERS.com is where you can go if you want to further support what we do. And of course, follow us across all of our social channels. We have done our part to remain active through the cold months of the offseason. And certainly now, as we make a turn into more college football stuff over the next few months, we'll be more active pretty much anywhere you can find us out online if social media is your thing.
Sure, absolutely.
All right. Without further ado,
yeah,
let's dive into this, Dan. What do we got on tap for today?
So the first category here on Jeopardy D Westbrook, which is so fun to say out loud, in the same way that Benetti mentioned Valero Alamo Bowl was a perfect Sean McDonough string of words. This category is called connective tissue. I don't have a connective tissue sound because the only tissue sound I could find from a movie was from Forgetting Sarah Marshall with, are those happy tissues or sad tissues?
Right.
And it didn't feel like the spirit of this category.
No, we'll stay away from that.
Okay, first connective tissue question is, and I'll ding you, Ty, if you get it right.
Okay, so this is a trivia game. You're asking. I don't even know what this game is. I'm coming into this cold turkey.
But there is some gameplay elements to this. Tennessee and UCLA are weirdly connected today with the Nico and Joey Aguilar transfer trade. The last time they played, Tennessee and UCLA, was in 2009 when Tennessee started this quarterback whose last name is eerily reminiscent of the biopic of local hip-hop legends NWA.
Whoa.
What was the name of the biopic? That's a good way to start thinking about the quarterback's name. NWA.
Right.
He did not have a good game.
Well, is that the Compton?
Straight Outta Compton is the movie.
And Jonathan Crompton was a quarterback.
Correct.
For Tennessee.
Did not have a good game in a losing effort. No touchdowns.
I do not remember the game at all, but
it was a Lane Kiffin Tennessee game.
2009 would definitely be the Lane Kiffin game.
That was the 1 year.
And had you not given me that hint about the biopic, there's no chance I would have gotten that right. But I'm thinking NWA, like, okay, I can do this.
I want to say Jonathan Crompton was reviled by Tennessee fans, and then the second half of the season kind of redeemed himself.
Yes.
I think it was a nice redemption story as he got more used to Lane Kiffin in that offense.
Who was the quarterback for UCLA?
That year's UCLA quarterback was, because I just looked at, so it was Jonathan Franklin in the backfield for UCLA. Yes. The leading receiver in that game was a name that is almost a very famous name today, Logan Paulson. Okay. Pretty good, right?
Not bad.
The starting quarterback for UCLA in 2009. Oh, my gosh.
That was Rick Neuheisel back in 2009, wasn't it?
That sounds right to me. In 2009, the starting UCLA quarterback for that team, I hope people are yelling it at their speaker of choice, Kevin Prince.
Oh,
Kevin Prince. If we want to just sit
talk
around.
About a ghost of the Pac-12 past.
Tennessee's leading rusher that day, Montario Hardesty.
Whoa.
Second leading rusher, a pioneer in the field of delaying commitment past signing day. Do you know the answer to this? You had Terrell Pryor a couple years later, but this was a pioneer.
Drawing a blank.
Bryce Brown. Also had a brother, Arthur. They both ended up at Kansas State, but Bryce Brown, Tennessee, out of high school. All right, so you're one for one, Ty.
I'm 1 for 1. Not bad,
Connective tissue continues. This one, I'm going to be very proud of you if you get, because it's in your wheelhouse. C.J. Carr is the presumed Notre Dame starting quarterback, although hasn't been named the starter. It's a Kevin Minchie battle.
He's going to be the starting quarterback.
He's going to be the starting quarterback. Per Ty, reporting in here. Quarterback after spring, making him the 5th Notre Dame quarterback since 2000 to have a noun for a last name. Name 3 of the other 4 Notre Dame quarterbacks to have nouns. I'm not going to count the one I'm eliminating here because he started a game and it's not really thought of as a noun, but it is technically a noun, is Demetrius Jones. A Jones is obviously a hankering for something.
Since when? 2009?
2000.
Oh, 2000.
So I need 3 noun last names for Notre Dame quarterbacks since 2000.
Oh, my God. Well, does Kaiser count?
That's a questionable one. It's a Kaiser roll.
Okay. I mean, a Kaiser roll. What about a cone?
A cone absolutely starts, yes.
Okay, so cone counts.
Yes.
Ian Book.
That's 2.
That's an easy one. And we're not counting CJ Carr?
No, Carr is independent of these others. A book, a cone.
A pine?
Pine is...
It's a type of tree.
It's a type, yeah.
I
won't not count it, but there is one right around 2000.
I mean, Malik Zaire. Zaire's a country.
It's a proper noun. I'm not saying proper.
It's a proper noun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe perhaps a time to travel and celebrate with loved ones. Maybe take a day off from work. An Easter, a Christmas, a 4th of July.
Dane Christ?
No. A Valentine's Day, a Veterans Day, Labor Day.
Oh, Carlisle Holiday?
There he is.
Wow.
It's a very stupid question, Ty. It's a very stupid question. Oklahoma's offseason has been eventful, with the big story being the Sooners turning to Pullman, Washington, and the Pacific Northwest for offensive answers. Almost 20 years after a heartbreaking loss to Oregon in the Pacific Northwest, when they felt cheated by this play. So it was 2006. This is an all-time Oklahoma fans felt like they were robbed because of this play in Eugene, Oregon. This kind of play.
Oh,
It's an Adrian Peterson Oklahoma team.
Right. An
all-time Oklahoma bummer.
Was it 2006 is really plumbing the depths here.
It's pre-solid verbal.
Yeah.
Here we go. Come on. What kind of play?
I want to say it was an onside kick.
There it is. Ball did not, according to some eyes, I'm not going to weigh in here, travel the full 10 yards.
It did not go 10 yards.
Before Oregon touched it.
Yeah.
And then Oregon got the ball back and scored a touchdown. And I think there was a blocked field goal as well involved in the ending of this game. So it wasn't like the last play of the game, but it was a crucial moment late. Yeah, right. That was it. So that's connective tissue, Ty.
Okay.
Mostly sad tissues.
I'm pretty surprised. Mostly sad. Yeah. I'm surprised I was able to get those. Not the Notre Dame one. The Notre Dame ones, I gave you a little hint. The quarterback,
but yeah,
you gave me hints.
Yes.
I'm surprised I was able to get that Oregon-Oklahoma one, but I remember that play vividly because I think I wrote about that at the time. At the time, I was doing
that's right. That would have been
for either SI or Five. Forget at the time. I guess 2006 would probably be Fox, and I remember writing something about that play, and that's the only reason it comes to mind. So,
by the way, when I was thinking of connective tissue questions, I had a couple of alts, and one of them was with Nico's little brother, Madden Iamaleava, transferring to UCLA, and Arkansas looking to get some money back from his NIL deal. I said the question I was thinking about, but I couldn't really parse it together. How I wanted to phrase it was, it's not the first time there's been acrimony surrounding an Arkansas quarterback going to LA, but this one was in the 2000s with the Springdale Mafia.
No.
Who was that quarterback?
Mitch Mustaine.
Mitch Mustaine is correct, yeah. So I figured, my wording was clunky, so I already had the Nico question, so I wanted to go in a different direction. But yeah.
Do you remember, hold on.
Yeah, please.
Let me pause you right there.
Damian Williams, another member, yeah.
Since we're taking a trip down memory lane with some of these names and situations, that era of Arkansas football was damn fun.
It was super fun.
And it didn't live up to the hype. But there was a lot, I think, that...
I mean, that's the totality of the Houston Nut experience, right?
Fun, it just made it interesting.
Yes. Oh, it was
fun. It was fun from that standpoint.
It was firecracker football. It was light a fuse, see what happens. There's no real long-term plan, but let's just see how this sparks up in the sky. That was great by me.
That's right. I think that's right.
I think there was a USC Arkansas game or a couple of games that went horribly for Arkansas in that era. But then you have the Run DMC and Felix Jones and Peyton Hillis. There's a ton of fun around that era of Arkansas football.
We are recording this on Thursday. The draft is going to take place in a couple hours here. And one of my lasting memories from that era of Arkansas football was the whole will they, won't they? Will the Cowboys take or not take Felix Jones?
Mm-hmm. Oh, because of the Jerry Jones connection.
Because of the Jerry Jones connective tissue.
Mm-hmm. Connective tissue.
And I believe they took him. I remember it was a very big deal during the draft. And honestly, I don't remember a whole lot of what Felix Jones did in the NFL. I'm sure he had his moments, but that build up and that sort of hype, manufactured as it was, around Felix Jones on draft day was pretty interesting. We even went in the first round, if I recall correctly.
Please never forget that I believe only one of those three running backs appeared on the Madden cover. Peyton Hillis, Cleveland Browns.
Peyton Hillis. That's right. That's right.
Never forget.
Crazy.
Okay. Next category, I simply just have here listed as Wilson with an exclamation point.
Wilson, where are you? Wilson! Wilson, where are you? Wilson!
I like the show How To with John Wilson, and I was thinking about Wilsons, and I don't know what, it was just on my mind, and it's a common name, and this sound, I don't know.
Wilson the volleyball. R.I.P.
He was Nick Saban's first starting quarterback at Alabama, and maybe a visual in your head would help, as he has to be considered to be on the Mount Rushmore of Bama Bangs. The first starting quarterback for Alabama, as Alabama connective tissue, searching for its new starting quarterback in a quarterback battle with a recent new coach. First starting quarterback category, of course, is Wilson. So you're talking 2007, and if it helps, 2008, before Greg McElroy took over.
The first thought I had was Wilson Spate, but I know Wilson Spate wasn't an Alabama quarterback. Wilson, it has to be a Wilson, I'm assuming.
Yes. All-time Bama Bangs.
John Parker Wilson.
John Parker Wilson is correct. Little brother Ross was on.
Give me the ding. Give me the ding.
Was on the show
4 for 4.
two-a-days.
I'm 4 for 4.
You are 4 for 4. Had the connection to Rush Probst in the MTV show Two-A-Days. Little brother was on that.
Okay.
Hoover High. Shout out Hoover High.
All right. Wow.
That same season, Ty, there is a new element to this game called Rollin', Ty. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to follow a thread, Ty. We're following a thread. That was Limp Bizkit's Rollin', of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so the number one single the week Alabama in 2007 lost to Louisiana Monroe was the first number one by the band One Republic. What was that single?
In 2007?
November 2007, the first hit song, number one single, One Republic.
I've been to One Republic concerts three times.
You're a One Republic guy.
I like One Republic.
A Ryan Tedderhead.
I am a Tedderhead. 2007, you said it was their first
number one
hit.
Yes. I did not license this song to play on the show.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I had to venture a guess, it was either Apologize or Good Life.
Give me a guess.
I think they first came to fame via their collab they did with Timbaland, and that was Apologize. So I'm going to say Apologize.
You're correct. Absolutely. Ty, you want to pull the thread a little bit more?
Let's do it.
Let's keep on rolling.
One Republic, baby,
was formed in the great state of Colorado. Earlier that year, Dan Hawkins famously reacted to a parent complaining about time off by saying, "It's Division I football. It's the Big 12. It ain't this."
Oh, man. I don't know.
That was very close to being on the introduction, the intro track to the Solid Verbal. This quote.
Oh, really?
It's an all-time famous Dan Hawkins quote.
I remember Dan Hawkins well. I remember his time
It's Division
at Colorado
I football.
well.
It's the Big 12. It ain't.
You know what? I don't know. Sometimes you know instantly that you don't remember something.
He even punctuated it with, "It ain't blank, comma, brother."
I don't know.
And they made shirts. It was a big deal. That's what you did in 2007. Somebody says something interesting or funny, make the shirts, print the shirts, put them in the student section.
It ain't Pee Wee football. It ain't
Ty, you're killing me.
I don't remember.
Oh, the first wrong answer is like the most solid verbal one, too. It ain't intramurals, brother. Intramurals.
We got to see if we can find that. So how close were you to putting that in the intro?
Reasonably close, because Dan Hawkins having the Oregon connection, the Pacific Northwest at Boise State, all that, and ending up at Colorado, and also like bringing his son, which I always thought was hilarious. Shout out Cody Hawkins, I believe his name was.
That's right.
That wasn't a great era of Colorado football. There are very few great eras of Colorado football recently, but that was like a big pull quote. The Dan Hawkins, "It ain't intramurals, brother." When parents were complaining like they don't have enough time off, it's like, it's the Big 12. It's Division I football.
You talk about the most solid verbal question that I got wrong.
Yeah.
We have gotten questions over the years about the intro.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've addressed this on some of our bonus episodes. This is probably going to stand in as a bonus episode, frankly, because we're recording it a little bit later. And it's kind of what you can get more of if you go on outtoverballers.com and sign up to support us. Shows like this, if it's your cup of tea. But we've gotten questions about the intro many times over, and I think I've talked about wanting to remaster the intro. The problem is you made it.
Yeah.
The first version of it back in 2007, 2008.
In like Audacity on an old Mac. Yeah.
On an old Mac, we definitely do not have the original source files for it. We also can't find the clips individually that we used to make it. We can't find the drum line that we used in the intro. We can't find the Lou Holtz quote that we used in the intro. We could find Bub Rub. We definitely could find Mike Gundy. We can't find that computer voice that you used.
Yeah, it was the text to
Dan.
speech, and I don't remember what site I used. Yeah.
So there's about like 80% of that original project file missing.
Why don't you ask AI to isolate the different parts so you can remaster them?
AI probably couldn't even do it.
I'm smarter than the computers, than the bots.
So my only point is, whenever the intro comes up, people ask us questions about it.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the backstory. We've wanted to remaster it to make it, sound kind of on par with the other stuff that we do here.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it sounds fine, but I couldn't even if I wanted to at this point. So it is what it is.
Where did Dan Hawkins last coach before retiring in 2023?
Where did he last coach?
Where did he last coach?
Wow.
FCS school. West Coast.
The first thought that came to mind was Sacramento State.
It's very close. It's not Sacramento State, but geographically incredibly close. Probably the closest FCS school to Sacramento State. They've made a little bit of noise early season playing against bigger opponents. Non-conference.
It's not UC Davis.
It's UC Davis.
Really?
It is UC Davis, yeah. Fighting Aggies of UC Davis. Spent a lot of time there in Davis.
Okay.
We're going to pull the string even more, Ty.
It's rolling. Let's keep rolling.
You suggested this category / game name.
I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
So this is Jeopardy, Ty. This is notable Jeffs.
Yes.
Not UC Davis, Ty. But from nearby San Jose State.
Okay.
This Jeff, life finds a way, found a way to be arguably the most successful San Jose State Spartan in the NFL at quarterback ever.
That's Jeff Garcia.
That's Jeff Garcia. Absolutely it is. That absolutely is.
If you were going to
very
ask
successful.
me UC Davis quarterbacks,
Yeah.
would have had no idea. But I do know Jeff Garcia. I remember Jeff Garcia well.
And by the way, that could be a controversial statement because Steve DeBoer also went to San Jose State, but he's not the best Jeff.
No, he's not the best Jeff. Steve DeBoer
Jeff
would not
Garcia.
fit in the Jeopardy category.
Do we say Jeff Garcia more successful than Steve DeBoer?
Oh, hell yeah.
I think so.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
What did Jeff Garcia mean to you as a Niners fan growing up?
He was a good quarterback in a not fun era of 49ers football.
Yeah.
In like early 2000s, I want to say, post Steve Young was Jeff Garcia. So it was
My lasting memory of Jeff Garcia as a pro quarterback, obviously, I did not see a whole lot of him at San Jose State. He was just kind of a pain in the ass, wasn't he?
Yes. He would extend plays. He was gritty. And he was stubbornly successful. I
Yeah.
mean that as a compliment.
Yeah.
So
Just a pain in the ass. You want those guys in your team. We're just a pain in the ass.
You do. Absolutely. All right, Ty, guess what we're going to do right now?
We're going to pull
We're
more
gonna
threads.
We're going to pull more.
It's rolling, baby.
We're going to pull that string even more. Okay. Now with Fred Durst and receiving duos, front of mind. You'll understand why in a second.
Okay.
In 2015, we honored this team for its commitment to Freducation out wide in the SEC.
Oh. Mississippi State?
2015, Mississippi State is correct. Absolutely. We had Fred Brown and Fred Ross
Yep.
giving teams a Freducation. Back to Jeopardy!
I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
The following season, this Mississippi State defensive lineman was on the SEC all-freshman team. Back to Jeopardy!
Oh.
Currently in the NFL. Good player in the NFL.
Named Jeff.
16, 17, 18 at Mississippi State.
Wow.
And also, as you know, the name Jeff can be extended
To Jeffrey?
to Jeffrey. It can, yeah.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know.
Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons.
Is that my third wrong? That might be my third wrong.
Big, successful defensive lineman.
Let me.
That might be your third one. We're going to stay receiving duos, Ty. You ready for this?
Okay.
I like this one a lot. This season, we're bringing it to 2025.
Okay.
Depending on the freshman, this program could feature the best Wilson receiving duo of all time as long as their DJ turns it up.
As long as their DJ turns it up?
As long as their DJ
South Carolina
turns it
has
up.
a DJ.
But we're talking about a receiving duo needing their DJ to turn it up, and I'm looking for the program, the team.
Florida.
Florida's absolutely correct. So we got Trey Wilson and Dallas Wilson.
Yeah.
Trey Wilson and Dallas Wilson. Trey Wilson, we know, has all SEC talent. Dallas Wilson showed out in the Florida spring game. 5-star receiver coming in locally, I think, from the Tampa area.
Right.
DJ Lagway, considered to be one of the, 3 best quarterbacks in this moment?
Provided he's not hurt.
Provided his health is there.
Yeah.
The DJ needs to turn it up, Ty.
Wow. See, you threw me for a bit of a loop there.
Yeah?
You did. You threw me for a little bit of a loop there, but
you got it.
I did get it. Yeah.
Bonus, Ty. Let's pull that thread. As Billy Napier looks to fix things in Gainesville, he could always look for inspiration from this 1969 alum who went on to host the greatest fix-it show ever, called This Old House.
Is that Bob Vila?
That's Bob Vila,
Yeah.
absolutely right. Ty,
I'm trying to
look
think,
at you.
is there a trick question here that I'm
Nope.
not?
Nope.
Okay.
That's just a fun fact. Bob Vila.
Bob Vila, Florida alum.
Florida Gator. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
This 2019 star receivers recruitment was allegedly a huge chapter in the acrimony, word of the day, between Ohio State's Urban Meyer and Texas's Tom Herman. In the end, it was just Ohio State's day.
In the end, it was just Ohio State's day.
Wilson, where are you? Wilson!
So he was recruited by Urban Meyer,
Right.
but signed by Ryan Day. 2018, 2019, that's when Ryan Day took over. 2019.
Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson's correct. Absolutely. Bonus
no
question,
hands.
Ty.
I'm not
No
Googling
hands.
or nothing here. I'm just rolling. Still
We're going to
rolling.
roll on, Ty.
I'll keep my hands here where everybody can see them.
So we're pulling on the Garrett Wilson string here. In 2021, Ohio State had an all-time receivers room. I don't know if it's the best all-time. It's one of the best all-time. Who was in it? And yet they still
2021?
lost to- Yes. Who was in the 2021 Ohio State all-time great, all-time great receiving room?
Well, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Correct. That's one.
Is that 2021 will be Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Correct. Absolutely.
I believe Garrett Wilson was in that one too, wasn't he?
Of course. That's why we're pulling the string. We need number 4.
Who was the 4th receiver? Jackson Smith and Jigba.
That's one.
Right. And
Garrett
is
Wilson.
that Emeka Egbuka?
Ooh, Ty, I'm so sorry. This is a receiver you're closely enamored with, fantasy-wise, at least at one point. Chris Olave. Chris Olave. That's the 4. That's quite the room. And yet, Ty, they still lost to this program at home in 2021. Which program is that?
Michigan?
No.
No.
They didn't lose at home that year.
Oh, they didn't lose at home. 2021, who did Ohio State lose to at home?
And yet, a lot of people say America's team.
You're talking
A
about
lot
the
of people
Oregon
say
Ducks.
talking about the Oregon Ducks.
Right.
Anthony
Anthony
Brown, Mario
Brown.
Cristobal.
Yeah.
No Kayvon Thibodeau in the Oregon Ducks. 2021, despite all that firepower out wide. And I think C.J. Stroud.
CJ
I
Stroud.
believe C.J. Stroud, 2021. Great NFL quarterback.
By the way, speaking
Yeah.
of all-time, like, I guess not draft blunders, but let's say like analysis blunders with respect to CJ Stroud. Since again, we're doing this on the day of the draft, I just recall
Sure.
a lot of the, let's say, analysis from people who watch a lot of college football, i.e. you and me,
Yeah.
on CJ Stroud. This is why I bring it up, because I was guilty of this. I remember talking a lot about CJ Stroud not being able to create when plays would break down.
Mm-hmm. Off platform.
Off platform, you throw a blitz in his face, he kind of doesn't know what to do, sort of like a deer in headlights. I wouldn't draft him for my team. Wasn't he Rookie of the Year 2 years ago for the Houston Texans?
Sounds right.
Obviously, their franchise quarterback, he's done pretty well for himself and has a bright career in front of him. So I'm glad for his sake that he proved us idiots wrong. And looking forward to seeing what they do tonight, what they put around him.
Absolutely, yes. Named NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, AP 2023.
Yeah.
Here we go, Ty. I think that's all we have for Wilson.
Wilson, where are you? Wilson!
We're going to navel gaze for a moment here, Ty. We've got solid verbal lore.
Ooh. Now,
Solid
now I
verbal
should
lore.
not get any of these wrong, right?
You should not get any of these wrong.
Okay.
And the question, obviously, is what does lore mean?
Fencing, fighting, torture, revenge, giants, monsters, chases, escapes, true love, miracles.
Yeah, all those
All
kinds
those
of
things.
All right, here we go. Ty.
Yeah.
Long ago, I used to play a song anytime we'd bring up, or sometimes when we'd bring up Notre Dame, and I'd play it from my phone into the microphone. You can either name what. So you sang it. Do you know the singer or the band, whatever, and the song name?
I remember the band. Well, no, I remember the song first and foremost. I can hear it in the back of my head.
Do you remember the song name? I would play this to make fun of the aged Notre Dame fan base.
I remember you've talked about. You've actually called it out on the show.
Sure.
Both the artist as well as the band. Yeah. I don't know if I know either, though.
I probably shouldn't play that much more. Although maybe it's in the
public
Public
domain at this
domain?
point. Probably not. Don't
it's the
risk
Glenn
it.
Miller
That's
Orchestra,
it, Glenn Miller.
and it's Moonlight
Serenade.
Moonlight Serenade. Okay.
I'm 0 for 1 on our own trivia thing.
0 for 1 on lore.
Okay.
Number 2. What is the one accredited university that made the grave mistake of having us speak to a class of young minds?
Boston College.
Boston College is correct. Absolutely. Yes.
Do you remember? So we went up there
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about what we do. And we woke up the morning after and it had snowed 14 inches of snow in Chestnut Hill.
It was a crazy amount of snow. Yes.
It was a crazy amount of snow. And I remember we hopped in a car, at least I hopped in a car. I don't know if you came with me, but called like an Uber or a taxi, somehow got to the Boston airport. And the guy who drove our car, or my car, I don't remember if you were with me, but I was at least in a car with somebody who was driving like 100 miles an hour in 14 inches of snow. And I was mortified that I was going to crash.
That's tough.
And then getting to the airport and finding out that pretty much all the flights were canceled with the exception of one JetBlue flight down to Philly. And I remember talking to the woman at the counter asking, like, are they going to cancel this one too? She's like, they'll fly through anything. Don't worry. Okay.
A little more worried now.
I did make it. But 14 inches of snow. We did do that talk.
Yeah.
We can come to your accredited university.
Penn State has not
If you're-
invited us. Oregon has not invited us.
No.
Probably for good reason.
No, that's correct. There actually was a second university that let us talk to its paying students.
Yeah.
But we did it via Zoom.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Bradley University,
I don't remember the
if
school.
you recall.
Bradley?
It was Bradley University, yes.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good people at Bradley in Peoria, Illinois.
I
wanna
believe
say.
so, yeah.
This actually kind of is pulling a thread here because you're talking about a snowstorm. Ty, with whom did we curl?
We curled with Kevin Brown. We
Correct.
curled with DJ Shockley
Correct.
and Cole Kubelik.
Also correct.
And we did so out at North Dakota State in Fargo.
We did it in Fargo, North Dakota, right next to the freeway.
And it was
at a curling club.
way harder than it looks on TV.
It's very difficult.
Way
Very
harder
difficult.
than it looks on TV.
Those are your solid verbal lore questions. My final Jeopardy D Westbrook question, clue, hint, whatever. I say with sort of a heavy heart because I call it Mike's and Patrick's in honor of Mike Patrick.
Oh, jeez.
All-time great ESPN.
Passed
just
away.
passed away.
At the age of 80. Condolences.
It was the fourth paragraph in his obit. They mentioned the Britney Spears with Todd Blackledge thing. What is Britney doing?
One of
Britney who?
One of the
Spears!
all-time most incredible sports clips.
At the end of a very tight game.
It was
Like shots of the field goal kicker kicking into the net on the sideline. What are they going to do here?
Yeah.
2007.
It was ridiculous.
It was great. It was Paul McGuire was the guy next to him in the Sunday Night Football booth, right?
Paul McGuire, yeah.
I have such a happy place in my heart for the old ESPN Sunday Night Football.
Yep.
It felt like it wasn't treated like a huge deal in the way that Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football is now, where you have like a desk with seven people. And it's this it's the number, I mean, isn't like NBC Sunday Night Football like the number one primetime show on television?
Something like that.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, hey, we got a little bit of bonus football for you at the end of Sunday. And the old NFL stadiums were all ridiculous, like playing at Jack Murphy Stadium or Joe Robbie. There was just something not low rent, but charming. And just they were so excited to call a football game on Sunday night. And it wasn't like the network TV of NBC or CBS or Fox. It was just like, this is the one thing ESPN has. They've got these guys who love calling games. I really like that. I think Joe Theismann was a part of that.
Joe Theismann was part of that. It was a three-man team. It was Mike
Yeah.
Patrick, Paul McGuire, Joe Theismann, all of whom I would say I could really only take in doses. But it
Sure.
was a fun broadcast, and my recollection from that era of at least pro football, it was before the NFL started taking itself seriously as a business.
Yes, correct.
You know what I mean? It was before it realized that it could be a $1 billion entity.
Mm-hmm.
And it just sort of went with a lot. And, there have been
Yeah, it was a
improvements,
sport
and, we can
more
talk
than-
about
yeah.
where it's gone since then. But at least from the outside looking in, growing up, watching it,
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely a different era.
It was, I don't know. I felt like it was such a charming, fun version of NFL football, if such a thing could ever have existed.
Sure.
But I don't know. There was something cool about it that I don't know if it ever had like legitimately really good NFL teams. It always felt like it was like Chargers, Chiefs. They're both 7-8,
Right.
And I don't know. I always liked it. So, rest in peace to Mike Patrick. I
Yeah.
always enjoyed his calls.
Right.
The name of this final category is Mike's and Patrick's.
Okay.
This pass happy school can pretty convincingly say that their two best players ever are a Mike and a Patrick. Doesn't hurt that their best coach ever was also a Mike.
Oh, my God.
This pass happy school can pretty convincingly say that their two best players
Okay.
ever
Okay. I got it.
are a Mike and a Patrick.
So you're talking.
Doesn't hurt that their best coach ever, hold on, Ty, was also a Mike.
We're talking about Mike Leach and Texas Tech.
Can you name the Patrick and Mike? that
Well,
I'm
I think you're
to?
referring to Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
That's pretty obvious. Best players ever were a Mike. Are you talking about like a Michael Crabtree?
Of course I'm talking about Michael. Who else would it be?
I don't know.
For Texas Tech.
I mean, yeah.
At least of the modern era.
Of the modern era,
Michael Crabtree is
the only two that
before
come
Jeremiah.
to mind are
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes and Michael Crabtree.
I would say like before Jeremiah Smith, there have been amazing freshman receivers. Michael Crabtree, he went for like damn near 2,000 yards
Yeah.
as a freshman
Yep.
in that offense.
Yep.
Understandably
Do you remember
so.
his quarterback?
In 2008, his quarterback would have been Graham Harrell.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm ding myself.
There you go.
Try not to do that publicly, but here we are.
Here we are.
Ty, you did really well on Jeopardy D
Thank you.
Westbrook. You did very, very well. I'm very proud of you. I thought my questions were clumsily worded, but effective in conveying weird questioning.
And giving me hints.
I had fun.
needed the hints.
You needed some hints.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got a Carlisle Holiday mention on a 2025 late April podcast. I thought this was great, Ty. I always like trivia. I always like game shows.
So
here we are.
Why don't we do this, because we had some requests, let's say, come through on our Patreon for ballers.com. At the end of our bonus episodes over the last couple weeks and months, we've been doing player schools.
Okay.
Throw out a player. What school are they from?
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to give you a list of, let's say, 7 players.
Is this after we saw a tweet about two guys forging a friendship in a bar that they would text each other names
This
and
was
the other
after
person
that.
would have to answer the school? Yeah, it's a great tweet.
We are going to give you a list of 7 college football players between, let's say, 2009
Okay.
and 2014.
Okay. My hands are on my head, so there's no Googling. Yeah.
These are guys who went to and played in the NFL,
Okay.
and you need to tell me what school they went to.
Oh, man. Potentially embarrassing, but this, tables are turned.
Okay?
I'll keep my hands
So
above.
let's say, again, 7 notable college football players between that 2009
Yeah,
and 2014 span.
I'm ready.
And you have to tell me where they played in college.
Okay.
All right. We'll start easy. We'll start with somebody like a Luke Kuechly.
Luke Kuechly, Boston College.
Give yourself a ding.
Saint Xavier's in Cincinnati?
I believe so. Yeah. I believe so.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Next one. A little bit harder, but you still probably will get this one.
Okay.
Jared Abbrederis.
Oh, Wisconsin. Badgers.
Give yourself a ding.
This was almost a question for you. I was going to say the question I had was under Wilson. Russell Wilson had a monstrous 3-headed running back room in 2011 for Wisconsin.
Okay.
Do you remember who made that up?
2011. No, I don't.
That's the Rose Bowl team. Greatest
Is that
quarterback in Wisconsin history.
Monte Ball?
Correct. Yes.
I don't know the other two.
Melvin Gordon, Mel Gore,
Okay.
and James White.
Okay. Beautiful.
All in that same 1,000-yard rushers. And the following season, they ran for 3,800 yards against Nebraska in one single game.
Okay. Yeah.
Next.
Next topic. This guy had a brief cup of coffee.
Oh, you're flipping it, so you're not giving me a name.
Not giving you a name.
Wait.
I would. Oh, okay.
So
well, yeah.
give me a name and I'll give you a school.
I'm giving you a hint with this guy.
Oh, okay.
He had a brief cup of coffee in the NFL.
Okay.
He was Duke's quarterback from 2011 through 2014. He played under David Cutcliffe.
Sure.
It is considerably harder.
So I have to go the opposite direction now.
Sort of, yeah.
So this is pre-Danny Dimes. You said 11 to 13. Dimes
11 to
was drafted,
14, yeah.
11 to 14. Danny Dimes was drafted 2019, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Duke's quarterback, 11 to 14. So he would have been the starting quarterback in the Peach Bowl against Texas A&M and Johnny Manziel in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Because Duke was the ACC runners-up in 2013.
Correct.
So who was that quarterback in that game? Texas A&M laid the lumber in that Peach Bowl. For some reason, I want to say his first name is Kevin.
That is incorrect.
I don't know his name.
His name is Anthony Boone.
Oh, wouldn't have gotten it.
Okay.
Wouldn't have been able. That's somewhere too deep in the recesses of my brain.
All right. This player by the name of Connor Shaw played briefly with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, South Carolina.
Give yourself a ding.
Thank you very much. Bald, if I remember.
This receiver goes by the name Devin Street, played for both the Cowboys and Colts.
Devin Street.
Played from 2010 to 2013 at this school.
I know the name.
Sorry I mixed
can
it up
see
on you a
him.
little bit earlier, but I'm just trying to
No,
keep
you're
this
okay.
thing fresh.
Devin Street, not Devin Smith. Devin Smith is Ohio State. Devin Street. I'm going to say Michigan State. I don't know.
The answer is a place that is now coached by the former coordinator at Michigan State.
Pitt?
The answer is Pitt.
That's right. Yeah. That sounds right. Yeah. Damn.
All right. This guy was active from 2012 to 2013.
Okay, we're reversing right now?
I'm going to give you more info on it.
Okay.
Played for the Chargers and Cardinals in the NFL. Was a touchdown machine in college. Went by the name Marion Grice.
Okay, I definitely know Marion Grice. Not to be confused with Marion Barber. Was Marion Grice ASU?
Give yourself a ding, Dan.
Boom!
Give yourself a ding.
Marion Grice. I can see him. Yep. So what years?
2012 and 2013.
So 2012 and 2013 would have been... God. I'm trying to think who was handing the ball off to him. Was it Taylor Kelly? I think Bercovici was later.
Bercovici was later, yeah.
Bercovici was like 15. I think Kelly was right around then too. Osweiler was
that might
probably
have been
earlier.
That might have been around the time with Osweiler, yeah.
Who would have been the 2012 Arizona State QB? Taylor Kelly.
Boom. Give yourself another ding.
Rubenstein.
We'll give you one more ding for that.
Next.
We're going to close out with this. I don't know if it's 8, but it feels like this is a good one to close out with.
I like that we're just doing this just for Brandon Huffman.
Just for Brandon Huffman.
Yeah.
This is a player who retired young due to concussions. He did make an impact, very limited time.
Okay.
He had a game-sealing interception as a rookie.
Okay.
Played linebacker for the Bills. His name is A.J. Tarpley.
A.J. Tarpley.
A Pac-12 school.
Give me the years that he played college.
2010 to 2014.
Language of origin?
English.
Okay. My heart is saying Stanford.
Give yourself a ding, Dan Rubenstein.
Boom!
A.J. Tarpley, second team All Pac-12 in the year of our Lord 2014.
So if you look at, I want to say, the 2010 Stanford team, if you look at that roster, that 2 deep for the 2010 Stanford team, it is absolutely crazy stacked.
Listen to this bio note here for A.J. Tarpley. I'm proud of you for getting that one.
Thank you very
much. He
much.
was an undrafted free agent following the 2015 draft.
Uh-huh.
They signed him to the practice squad. He was promoted to the active roster. He recorded his first career interception against the Dallas Cowboys December the 28th, 2015.
Okay.
And in week 17 against the New York Jets, he made a game-ending interception that gave the Bills a win. Knocked the Jets out of playoff contention. The interception was the final play of his career.
Oh.
He announced he was retiring after that, citing health, having suffered his 3rd and 4th career concussions the previous season. He explained it in an essay that was submitted to Sports Illustrated, which I remember, which is why I bring up A.J. Tarpley. I saw him on my screen. I was like, I remember that. So he did actually come back. He played in some other like offbeat football league, but at least his career in the NFL was sort of limited to that. Actually played in the XFL. Memory serves, he played in the XFL after he retired. But A.J. Tarpley at Stanford, second team All Pac-12 2014.
So that 2010 Stanford team, so that's Andrew Luck. It is Doug Baldwin, Ryan Whalen, Kobe Fleener, Chris Owusu, Stephen Taylor, Griff Whalen.
Wow.
Zach Ertz is on this team. If you remember, Owen Marisic going both ways as a linebacker and kind of fullback running back. Tyler Gaffney is a rotation guy. Levine Toilolo is a linebacker at this point before switching to tight end. On defense, Shane Scove, Chase Thomas, Michael Thomas, Dick Sherman. Yeah, Richard Sherman right there.
Yep.
There was somebody else that was Sione Fua was a big name on the inside. There was a lot of good like NFL quality. Ed Reynolds was on that team. A lot of really good players. Trent Murphy didn't play a lot. He was young, but he was on that team. It was a really good Stanford team that ended up being Stanford. They lost to Oregon. Oregon came back and put it on them in Eugene. But that team finished like number 3 in the country or something crazy.
I'm going to give you a few more rapid fire since I know people at home enjoy this type of thing.
Yes.
Okay. Kenny Guyton.
Yeah. Ohio State. Got to start at Cal when... Who was suspended? Was it Terrell Pryor was suspended for the first game or somebody? Yeah.
Okay.
He's now a coach, Kenny Guyton.
Don't tell me his first school. Tell me where his second school was.
Okay.
Jeff Driscoll. Speaking of Jeopardy.
Louisiana Tech.
That is correct.
Boom.
David Fales.
San Jose State.
Another one.
He was a Mike McIntyre quarterback. You don't forget a name like Fales.
Storm Johnson. I know you remember him.
Shoot. Storm Johnson.
He originally was at Miami, but then transferred in-state to another school. That at the time was not a power conference school. I'm probably giving you too many hints here.
So that's Storm Johnson's got to be UCF.
UCF, that's correct.
Okay.
And finally, let's close it out with this one. He played both quarterback and I think a little bit of wide receiver. Dude was an athlete.
Uh-huh.
And he's actually more noted for something else other than what he did. Kane Coulter.
Kane Coulter's Northwestern.
Give yourself a ding.
He's the Union guy.
He's the Union guy. That's what he's known for.
Yep. Kane Coulter. Good
Did
pull.
have a cup of coffee with the Vikings. Went to their camp.
Unfortunately, as soon as you said linebacker who retired early citing health concerns, I knew you weren't going to go here because you already did Jared Abbrederis, but my mind went to Chris Borland.
Oh, right.
I believe.
Right.
Similar situation. So,
all right.
man, good names. Very good names.
Thank you.
So then I owe you that next week.
Next week.
I owe you some names.
Next week you owe me
did
some
2009 to present?
I did 2009 through 2014.
I was very happy. Marion Grice was iffy. Very happy with AJ Sharpley. You gave me the Pac-10, Pac-12 thing. That was helpful. I wouldn't have gotten it probably otherwise because I can just then go through. Like AJ Tarpley doesn't seem like a wazoo name but it locked in with Stanford for me for whatever reason.
And our final question here, since we want to go out on a high note.
I could do this all day.
Speaking of solid verbal lore,
yeah.
There is, I believe, one and only one Notre Dame quarterback who has been on the solid verbal. In our 17 plus years of doing this podcast, there has been one and only one. As your phone is ringing.
I was getting a FaceTime from Ari Wasserman, who's going on a cheese run for me in Wisconsin. Continue.
It rhymes with AJ Tarpley. What was this quarterback's name?
Evan Sharpley?
Give yourself a final ding, Dan.
I have no recollection of this.
Evan Sharpley was on the program way back when.
Nice. Transfer to Cincinnati?
I believe so, yes. I believe so.
Wow. Okay.
Well, this was fun. Jeopardy D Westbrook. I guess I'm going to title the episode Jeopardy D Westbrook.
You can do whatever you want.
We'll come up with a fun name for this episode. Thank you for bearing with us here. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the draft if that's your thing. If not, enjoy nicer weather. Hopefully, nicer weather wherever you may be it here in the U.S. or somewhere abroad. We appreciate your ongoing support. Going out to verballers.com, verballers.com if you want to support what Dan and I do. As I said at some point over the last hour or so, yes, we do episodes like this in the off season. We do episodes like this as part of our bonus content as well at verballers.com. Not always hardcore college football. Sometimes we got to have a little fun with it here. So thank you for letting us indulge in the world of game shows on this here episode.
Yes, absolutely.
For that guy over there, our beloved game show host, Dan Rubenstein, for myself, Ty Hildenbrandt, the triumphant contestant. We'll talk to y'all soon. Stay
did
solid.
great.
Thank you, Dan.
Peace.